intricate, and it's breathtaking how it comes off on the screen. This camera work. Did you know you were going to make this sort of? Did you know you were going to shoot it that way, or when you were in the film, were you creating these things?
It's funny. We started very, because we loved comics and we were very analytical about films, both of us, and what happened with Bound, which was kind of funny. We ended up as being the sort of black sheep of the Dino family. There were two other filmmakers who were kind of working at the same time with Dino. One was John Mostow. He made this submarine movie. It's called like U-571 or something. And it was a big hit. And the other one was John Dahl. And he made some really interesting, cool movies that were also hits. And Dino loved those guys. And he was always like going out to like fancy Hollywood restaurants with lunch with them. But he like never went out with us. Never. We would have like sometimes coffee in his office, or, and he would like, yeah, do this, do that. Yeah. We were like the Cinderella of like Dino's like world, and we didn't mind. We were just kind of like, we knew that we were sort of weird, and we had this little tiny squeezed office in the corner, and we would just sit there and we would storyboard all day long. And it was like, for a long time we didn't know if we were gonna get to make it because it was such a hard movie to cast. And so while we were waiting, and Mostow would get this big sexy office, and he would have all these actors and actresses coming through all the time, and we maybe would have like one person who would come in and read for like, some minor part, and Dino would be like, who did you see today? And we go, oh, we saw John Ryan. And he went, and then, he would go off to Jonathan Mostow's office. But literally, I think because of that, we had this gift of time, and we just sat there thinking about every scene and every shot, and we rewrote a lot of scenes over and over and over. And it ended up being really, it gave us a lot of security when it came time to direct it, I think, because we had thought about it so much. And we really wanted to create the love scene with one shot. We talked a bit about it a lot. We thought about, genre often is built around these very sort of tight montages, or if there's a action moment, and they'll extend the cuts, and we were like trying to reverse it a little bit, and we want the intimate moment to be one moment to feel really authentic, and so I think all of that prep ended up being helpful for us, and then that really informed how we ended up approaching the trilogy, the Matrix trilogy, because it made us feel good, kind of know what we were doing, and then eventually we threw all that out and started a whole new style where we wanted to improvise everything, and that's kind of where we ended up. It's a long journey from being very specific, very exact, to wanting absolute organic chaos.
Do you think you get to the absolute chaos without doing the journey the way you did it?
Maybe other people could. It was good for us. We felt it was good to just learn all this, be specific, be exact, and then let it go, let it go, let it go, be wilder, be wilder. By Sense8, we would just show up and nobody would have any idea what we're doing. And I would just start saying, hey, does anybody have a popsicle stick? Great, let's go, we can build this, we'll do this. We built all of Sense8, almost every scene is improvisational. It's nuts.
Wow. I didn't know that part. Sense8.
Yeah, we often wouldn't even scout them. We would just see pictures and we'd go, yeah, that looks cool. And we would just go and people would go like, well, how are you? And we'd just start figuring it out on the fly. And we would just start rolling. I would just say, action! And everyone would be standing around and lights, and okay, move that light over there, go here, come here, say this, go again, go over here, like this, good background. You know, it was just completely, we wanted it the way we write, so it was just organic.
I have another question from the audience that I found kind of interesting when I read it to myself, so I wanted to bring it up to you. Can you talk a little bit about the decision to place violent and quirky sex scenes so early in the film when there's comparatively less physical contact later in Bound?
Yeah, so I wanted it to feel like the connection was authentic. I wanted you to believe in the relationship because of the intensity of the attraction and the catharsis of that is what ends up making you believe that the desire is real on both their sides. And then you begin to doubt it, which is what I thought was fun, but it was funner to start with it, and then you begin to suspect, you know, because then you see Shelley and you begin, is she manipulative? Because you have all of these preconceived ideas, and genre is this, it's a sort of formula, and we all agree. Why I like genre is because it is this sort of almost democratic, like agreed upon expectations. They're the melodies of like pop music. It's like when we hear this series of chords or notes, it feels good. It's like you get to the resolution chord, it feels good. So genre has a lot of those things in it where you have a series of like boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl. And so you can play with genre in ways that I think end up making space, because I think this is a longer discussion about narrative, the importance of narrative in our society. Wow. Yeah, so basically I wanted to introduce the love story, introduce this connection, and then make you start to feel all of the things you think when you see a character like Violet in this story, which would then be another way to explore the idea of being out, or judging a book by their cover, or judging identity. So you judge identity like Corky's butchiness, or Violet's feminine, and their outness or not outness, and then you make judgments about them as people, as identities, and I wanted to start playing with that in the same way that you play with she's a femme fatale, and so she can't be honest, and you know, she's always manipulative. And I wanted to play also with that assumption.
It's okay. We want to hear about this. We do. That's why we're here. Well.